Hi, we're at Cine Expo 2023. It's year 2 of this show actually, and it's very busy. I'm joined by Daniel on the Sony stand.
Yeah, Sony stand. Yeah, it's great.
Thanks for spending the time talking to us. I couldn't believe how busy it was straight away. The doors opened and you seemed swamped.
People came flooding in, and we have one of the prime spots here where when the doors are opening, the first thing you see is the Sony booth. So we can't be more happy than that.
You've got a lot of new things going on, so let's talk through the whole stand basically.
You mentioned it was like the second time that this show is going on, so we've been busy since then. We're showing our Creators Cloud, which is a cloud platform where you have access to different workflows. We understand that people who already have a workflow and they want to have the advantage of working remotely on set with a camera and having a wireless ingest and having all the metadata connecting to each other and having no limitation when it comes to their ingest, but simply offering a wireless solution. That's brilliant for those who have a workflow already. But then there's going to be other people who might not have a workflow already, and then we also offer a solution for that as well, because we do have a cloud platform where you can adapt a workflow that we've designed. So you have connectivity, you might have freelancers where you will send a link so they can upload for their content, so a content link or file requests. We also have the possibility to send files to clients so they can review everything and go through the material and leave comments and say, well, what do I not want? So it's a very flexible and dynamic way of working, but in the cloud, and using the cloud to be more efficient with the workflow. So that's one of the things we're demonstrating here, and of course we have it available online as well. So it's something that we're happy to engage with customers here at the show.
Oh yeah, but that level of collaboration is so important, isn't it?
Yes.
And giving people a seamless way of doing that.
Gone are the days where we could just make a product and say, this is how it works, so change your workflow so it fits our product. We need to adapt into how many people work in different ways, and there are many people who work in different ways. They have different NLEs, they have different storage, they have different requests when it comes to which kind of formats they want to shoot on, and we need to be adaptive to all of the different clients so we can make that work. That's what we're showing with our cloud solution, that we are very flexible with our cameras, and regardless of the workflow, we have a solution for you.
Fantastic,
Then we also have another workflow with our FX9 camera. The FX9 got a firmware update, so it now supports anamorphic as well. So we have some anamorphic D-squeeze, so you can monitor directly inside the camera itself. So now it's possible to use the anamorphic lenses that are out there, depending if it's a high-end lens or maybe it's a more affordable lens, but there's lots of anamorphic lenses out there. So what we're showing here at the booth is the latest one from the PS Technik here in German-based company. And they've been very friendly of loaning us one of the lenses so we can demonstrate it. So it looks really good.
Fantastic.
So anybody who loves working with anamorphic should have a look at the FX9, how it works with those lenses.
Brilliant, and actually PS Technik are very innovative, aren't they?
It doesn't take long from an idea to an actual product when it comes to them. It's great to meet them at shows. We can take any feedback from a customer using our cameras, go over to their booth and say, well, here's a customer who's complaining a little bit about an issue they have. Do you maybe have a solution for that? And then maybe at the next show we'll see a prototype.
Yes, fantastic.
That's really good.
And the flagship obviously is the Venice 2, isn't it?
Yes, I mean we do have the Venice 2 here with us. We're showing the latest technology that we've made available. The latest one is the Rialto, the extension system. We did this with the original Venice as well, but that was a 6K sensor. Now with the Venice 2, we offered another sensor that you can use instead. You can choose between the 6K or the 8K. And when you go from 6K to 8K, you're going to increase the bandwidth twice.
Right.
So it's twice the amount of bandwidth. And the previous cable didn't work in that kind of workflow. It was simply too high a bandwidth for the cable to support it. So that was one of the limitations. So we needed to make a new one. And while we were making a new one, we interviewed a lot of users of the original Rialto. And that was good. We got some feedback of how they like to use it and what they're missing. So we gave all of that feedback to Japan. We had the VFX houses who were going crazy because there is built in this Venice camera body is a gyroscopic sensor. So you have the tilt and the roll of every single codec that you're recording, but when you use the Rialto, you didn't get that information.
Yes.
Now you do with the Rialto 2. There are also people who like to use the ND filters that are built in, but having access with some buttons on the side. So you can assign dedicated buttons to change the exposure while you're using the
Actually on
extension.
that, rather than have to come back here.
Yeah, or asking your assistant,
Yeah.
could you please change the ND filter for me? That this gives them more tools available. So
Yeah.
it's all of this is very handy for the users. And then
Yeah.
the last thing was we didn't make it possible to extend the sensor without having a repeater box in the middle if you wanted some
Yeah.
really long
Yeah.
cables. And we changed that. Our engineers in Japan, we're not allowed completely to say how we did it, but it is very creative and very efficient
Right, yeah.
ways of working. And now we can do a 8K signal without a repeater up to 12 meters.
That is a game-changing development, really,
Yeah.
isn't it? Because it's
And there's no limitation. So whatever you can do with the Venice camera by itself, you can do exactly the same, but in a small housing
Right.
with the extension
so
system.
there's no trade-off at all.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, there's many different applications. Like if you're in a tight space, it could be a small room. You can't just cut a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
You might have a car that you don't want to strip apart, so you can have a camera there.
Yeah.
You might have a photographer who loves handheld and wants to go all day handheld. Well, then having a camera that's 2 kilos instead of 5
Yes.
kilos is suddenly beneficial.
Yeah, which wasn't really an option then, is it? But now that is. Yeah. That's amazing. And I bet people are really excited about that.
People are very happy. The feedback we've gotten so far with projects when we showed it for the first time was that they already had some projects where they would love to get a prototype. So we were able to get some special prototypes to certain projects that are going to be shown soon in cinemas, and that's going to be excellent to see the result of that. No, we've got some really positive feedback about this, especially the length of the cable.
Yeah.
It opens up so many different opportunities to put the camera wherever they want.
Yeah.
Even outside of cars.
I mean, even, it was on Top Gun Maverick, wasn't it?
Yes.
And Tom Cruise was singing the praises of it on, the press junket. So,
I mean, they were tight for space. They had 5 cameras in the cockpit already, but they wanted a 6th camera that was going to be up top,
Right.
angled down. But when you take a camera and you angle it down, it would have to go through the window of the cockpit, and wasn't possible.
Yeah.
But with the Rialto, then it wasn't that long, and you could angle it and still fit inside the cockpit.
Yeah, I mean, the deciding thing about how big this is the lens, isn't it? It's not the...
Yeah. And now you have more space and tight. When you're in a tight space, you have more options to choose the lens that you want. So if you have a really long lens that you want to put there, and then the camera will be smaller, and you'll have suddenly the opportunity to use that in a place where you couldn't. One of example is one of these Cine pilots, so cinema helicopters or cinema jets. So where you can have a tight space and you only have a certain amount of room for a lens and a camera all in once. But now with this, you can have a bigger lens, more zoom power. Yeah. Very beneficial.
Yeah. That's made a lot of people happy, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's more place for creativity.
Yeah. Brilliant. Sorry, I jumped straight to the Venice, but
we actually have another thing that we're showing, and it's it's the remote camera that we made.
Yeah.
So many people might already have seen that we announced a PTZ camera, a remote camera with a sensor that has the same sensor block as the other cinema line cameras.
Right.
Cinema line cameras are using a full frame 4K sensor to have autofocus and having this different look, which you can get in a handheld model as well. But putting that in a remote system is suddenly giving that same look, but even going to a PTZ where you can put a camera in a more unique location where you might not be able to put an operator.
Yes.
So here you have the opportunity to put this anywhere, get the autofocus, but we do have a lot of lenses that do not have built-in power zooms.
Oh, right, yes.
But our friends at Corosil has been able to fix that with the small adapter box. So they've made a protocol investment so they could actually change the way that they adapt to the protocol with the remote system, and they could then add the zoom functionality by adding one of their motors. So all of this goes connected into one cable for the connectivity. So you have the same user panel, you have the same user interface. You just now have zoom with lenses that do not have a motor. Lots of
Fantastic.
lens choices now.
Yeah, and it's it's a good, compact, such a compact form factor as well, isn't it?
We have a lot of users that want to put this camera in places where it's impossible to have anybody there for a long time.
Yeah.
It could be in the ceiling. We have fashion shows where they love the look of the
Yes.
full frame, they love the autofocus or the catwalk, but they can't put an operator there. Now they can mix between an FX9 or an FX6 or an FX3 with a repeater set camera, and they don't have to change the look. And producers love it.
Well, that's another strength of Sony, isn't it? That it's the family of cameras work together.
Yes.
Yeah, which they have
Yeah.
to, like you say.
You can have the same workflow.
Yeah.
You can use the same lenses.
Yeah.
You can have various of camera sizes. Obviously, when you increase the camera size, you'll have more hardware.
Yeah.
With more hardware, you'll have more options. So
Yeah.
there is a consequence of going smaller is you have less hardware.
Yeah.
So there are going to be some limitations, but it all depends on your project and how you want to work, what kind of workflow. Decide which kind of camera that fits you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And do you find people are coming to you with more crazy ideas, kind of thing, which sparks creativity from your side?
Well, they see what we can do with remote cameras or with big Venice cameras when you remove the sensor, and they will challenge us and say, you know what, I have an idea, but how about if this was the other way around? And that's been some interesting products that will be revealed later.
Ah.
So it's under NDA right now, but it's definitely,
Fantastic. Yeah.
there's creativity is no longer a limitation to what's possible.
Fantastic.
So it's fun to get people's ideas
Yeah.
voiced, and we bring that to the engineers of Japan and ask, can we actually do this? And they scratch their heads, they talk together, and they come back with some suggestions of a solution. That's been really interesting. So it's
A lot to look forward to then.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, I hope the show is successful for you. I mean, it's extremely busy already.
It's only been a couple of hours.
Yeah.
I would already say by the conversations it's been very successful so far. So
Yeah.
the rest of the weekend can just be a blast.
That's it, yeah. Thanks for coming on and talk to us.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you.
Thank you.